In this video, we're going to take a look at opening the declaration and opening the type hierarchy, or just opening a type. So we'll note in the Navigate menu, Open Declaration maps to F3, Open Type Hierarchy maps to F4, and a little bit lower, Open Type maps to Control-Shift-T, and Open Type and Hierarchy, Control-Shift-H. Now of course on the Macintosh this would be Command-Shift-T or Command-Shift-H. Now these are going to be very useful tools for us to quickly reference variables where they're declared, or quickly look at type structures for our specific object types that we're looking at or working with in our code. For example, in Program, if we highlight Data File Path, and we want to see specifically where is Data File Path declared, we can easily hit the F3 key, and that will bring us to the declaration for the Data File Path variable. And we can see where that's declared, and then know our code more thoroughly. We can do the same thing with Password File Path if we go to the Navigate menu and select Open Declaration. Again, we'll see where is that variable declared, how is it declared, and we can make our code references from that and have a little bit better understanding. This is especially useful if we're not as familiar with the code. So the next thing that might be something you would be concerned with, especially if you aren't familiar with the code, is what is the inheritance of a specific object. For example, if we look at password collection, here we can see that password collection extends offset. Well, it may be the case that you're not exactly familiar with the code, and you might wonder, well, what does offset inherit from? And what should I be aware of about the properties of these objects? So you could simply make sure that the type that you want is in scope, and you can hit the F4 key. Let's do that. And here we'll note that on the left, type hierarchy has opened, and we see object, and then offset, and then password collection. So now we quickly can reference that password collection inherits from offset, which of course inherits from object. So we have a little bit better understanding of this code. Now again, we don't necessarily have to hit F4. We could have the password collection in scope, select Navigate, and select Open Type Hierarchy, and we'll see that same thing happen. And also, if we don't have anything open in the editor, we might note that our Navigate menu is not exactly the same. It only has Open Type and Hierarchy available. No longer were the other options available because nothing's open. So here, if we've just opened our program, and we'd like to find a specific type that we want to modify or review, we could select Open Type. And when we do this, it will bring up a dialog that allows us to open a specific type, and we can find that type using some pattern matching. So we simply start entering the type we are looking for, and we can see different options available to us that we could then try to find within our code. And it will tell us where those are located, if those are the types we're looking for. Here, if we're looking for Encryptor, it knows that's what we're looking for. We can double-click Encryptor, and it will bring up Encryptor into the editor menu. So again, we could have done this using Control-Shift-T. So if I close this and I hit Control-Shift-T, it will bring up the same Open Type dialog. So here, let's select Password Manager. Now once I get to a specific point where there's only one thing available, I've told the system enough that it knows what to open. So if I select OK at this point, we should see Password Manager open up into the editor, and it does. And again, we don't have to have everything closed. We could simply hit Control-Shift-T again and bring up our other type that we're looking to modify. And so here then we'll just double click Encryptor, and now we have both open and ready to be edited. And once again, if we're looking to see this type or any type in the type hierarchy right away, we could Control-Shift-H. This will bring up the Open Type and Hierarchy dialog. And this allows us to do the same thing as when we were opening the type, but this time it will just open it into the hierarchy. So here, if we once again type in Encryptor, we'll see that that will now open inside of the type hierarchy. But we no longer have that open in our editor. To do that, we would need to Control-Shift-T and bring up the Open Type, and then use that one. Control-Shift-H again. Let's bring up Password Manager in the Open Type hierarchy, and we'll select OK. Again, we can see that Password Manager inherits from JFrame, from window, from container, from component, and ultimately from object. So that wraps up our look at opening the declaration, opening the type hierarchy, opening types, and opening types in hierarchy.